it would be a course in Birmingham, in which I had a young student, subhanallah. He must have been about 4 or 5 years old. And he was asking the most amazing questions. And I sensed this presence of confidence in him. And he was constantly asking his father as well during the course to further explain things. He just wanted to digest the course to the best of his ability. And then during one of the breaks, he came and gave a 10-minute lecture to the audience. And it was a lecture that would wake up dead hearts. I won't lie to you. I wish we had it recorded. I remember that, but it's recorded in my heart. It's something I will remember for a long time.
I remember when I was telling the story, I believe it was Manchester. I was telling them, telling the boys and girls, may Allah bless the young men and women, brothers and sisters, to say, you know what, don't be a dollar sign dad, and don't be a career mom. And I was telling the story about that young boy that came in and asked his father for something. And when his father came in from work, he was angry. He told him off right away. And when he realized he made a mistake, he went to his son and he said, son, sorry, I was tired. And forgive me. What did you want to ask? He says, I just wanted to ask you how much you make an hour, Dad. He says, I make $10 an hour. He says, here you go, Dad. I saved $10. Can I have an hour of your time? I broke down on that one. That was a tough one because that was me. And the other time when I was talking about mothers, wow, that was very, very, very weak place of my heart. I cried then too. And when I was talking about the death of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that was in Toronto actually, when I was talking about the seerah. I couldn't take it. I had to leave the hall. Right. And I think that the final one was, I think it was also in the UK, when I lost my voice. And I remember that when I was teaching the course, and I couldn't say anything. And I told the brothers and sisters, listen, I'm so sorry, but we can give you your money back, redo this, or I can just whisper in the mic. That was a very memorable day. I remember then I was just going like this, and it worked. And I remember that when people make fun of me all the time because they nailed me. And I remember when we were going to have some food, the brothers were ditching, and they were bad mouthing, and I can't get back to them. That was fun, a lot of fun. My God, there's too many good memories.
A memory with the student that stands out is Sister Maryam in London. Sister Maryam in London. And Sister Maryam, subhanAllah, she would come to the course in her wheelchair. I think she suffers with cerebral palsy, and so difficult for her to speak, and she needs a helper to bring her to the course, mashallah. And so she was definitely an inspiration. That you look at her, and mashallah, very, very, very smart. She even did the student guild, and she would get like in the 90s in terms of marks. So that moment where you have a student like that and they come to the classroom and they want to study, subhanallah, so that really stood out, mashallah.
Most memorable moment is Birmingham. First time teaching in Birmingham. I remember Mushfiq driving me around and stuff. And Harun was there as well. Harun from Durban, South Africa. He lived there. But what happened in the course was amazing, man. Like, it was the worst thing ever. So in Canada, we use certain words that they don't use in the UK, or they'll use them differently in the UK. Like, we call a vacuum, they call it a Hoover. But I was in the course, and I was wearing like brown pants, and we call pants, but in they call pants trousers. Yeah. So some people, some of the, a couple of students, sometimes they, bring in a gift or something. So they gifted me a pair of shoes, and it was a brown suede, brown leather suede shoes, Clarks. So I put on these shoes, and they matched my pants. So I was like standing in front of the class, and I lift my foot up, and I'm like, oh, these shoes are awesome. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, jazakumullah khairan. I really appreciate them. They perfectly match my pants. And everyone's laughing super hard. And I'm like, what? And Mushfiq comes right up to me. He's like, Sheikh, we call underwear pants. But you just told the whole class that your shoes match your underwear. And I was like, no. So they call pants trousers, and for them, like underwear, they call pants. I didn't know that. Who calls underwear
the most memorable moment for me was, again, the first time I taught a course outside South Africa was actually in Indonesia. But meeting the students from Indonesia and having that connection with South Africa. So even before the course, I gave a little bit of an introduction to how Islam came to South Africa from Indonesia. And I think just to think that we have this connection, this ummah has this connection going back and forth, and that for someone from South Africa can go back to Indonesia and to teach over there. It was a moment for all of us, both the students and myself, to say that, you know, we're all just continuing on this long tradition of learning that goes back to the Prophet ﷺ, and going back and forth. And all of us, the instructors, the students, bringing this together is something beautiful. The Al-Kawthar team, you know, continuing that long lineage. And so, alhamdulillah, that for me was my first course, the first time I actually taught an Al-Kawthar course, and the first introduction was that. It was emotional, alhamdulillah.
I think it was either Birmingham or Manchester, one of the two, where after the class, a mother approached me and she had her son, and there was like a really private matter that they wanted to discuss. And usually I think like those kind of things I hear in the masjid when people have a bit of a relationship with you. But that moment for me meant a lot, because just in a few hours of a day, they felt comfortable enough asking me something that personal. And I really remembered that, because I felt that my answer helped them. I could see it on their face. And that's a really great feeling to be able to say something that helps someone. And that for me was memorable for that reason. The fact that it so quickly someone could trust me and ask a question like that, and then the answer was satisfactory enough for them.
I think the most memorable moment, I would say, was the very first courses we did with Sheikh Tawfiq. The very first Hajj course that I did, where it all started, was with Sheikh Tawfiq, who did the first part, and then I did the second part. Learned a lot from Sheikh that course, learned a lot about how to answer things. So I still remember that. So I think that's memorable from a teacher, from memorable in relation to what happened in the class. I guess Manchester, when I did the demonstration of the Ihram, and I think it's still on YouTube. So yeah, it was quite a lot of fun.